At Nis, some more people got on the train, and 2 old men came into our carriage. They looked at Melanie's feet on the seat and talked in loud voices. Carol laughed, and Melanie opened her eyes and sat up. "Are we nearly there?" she asked Carol, and looked out of the window. "Yeah, about half an hour, I think." "Why are you getting off at Bela Palanca?" I asked. "What are you going to do there?" Melanie smiled. "Find a cheap hotel, meet people, take a look at the town, you know." "Just for a day or 2, Carol said. "But there's nothing there." "Oh, well, you never know," Melanie laughed. "See you in Sofia, right? On Saturday night. The Hotel Marmara, okay? 8 o'clock, Carol said. "Don't forget now." "Okay, great," I said. "See you there." The train came into Bela Palanca and stopped. The 2 girls got off and stood on the platform. They smiled at me through the window. "Saturday, 8 o'clock, Melanie shouted. "Okay," I called. They couldn't hear me because of the noise in the station. They smiled again, picked up their bags and walked away. Nice girls. I'm going to have a great time in Sofia, I thought. The train left Yugoslavia and crossed into Bulgaria at 2 o'clock in the morning. Then the train stopped at some village. I don't remember the name. I ate an apple and looked out of the window. Suddenly, there were a lot of policemen on the train. Everybody in the carriage sat up and began to talk. "What's happening?" I said in Italian to the old man next to me. "I don't know," he said in bad Italian. "Perhaps they're looking for somebody. Look, the police are taking some people off the train." Then 2 policemen came into our carriage, a tall, thin one and a short, fat one. They looked at everybody carefully, and then they looked at me again. "Come with us, please," the fat policeman said in English. "What, me?" I said. "Why? What's the matter?" "And bring your bag with you," the tall policeman said. I began to ask a question, but policemen never like questions from young men with long hair. So I stayed quiet, picked up my bag, and went with them. In the station building, there were a lot more policemen and some people from the train. They were all young people, I saw. Some were afraid, some were bored. The police looked in everybody's bags, and then the people went back to the train. My 2 policemen took me to a table. "Your passport, please," the fat policeman said, "and open your bag." They looked at my passport, and I opened my bag. There was a young policewoman with red hair at the next table. She had a nice face, so I smiled at her, and she smiled back. "Aha!" the tall policeman said suddenly. All my dirty shirts and clothes were out on the table. The policeman picked up my bag and turned it over. Onto the table, out of my bag, fell packet after packet of US American dollars. Nice new dollars. $50 notes in big packets. A lot of money. My mouth opened and stayed open. I couldn't find my voice. I was suddenly a very interesting person, and a lot of police ran up to our table and stood behind me. 50,000, 100,000, 150,000. There's $200,000 here, the tall policeman said. What an interesting bag, Mr. Tom Walsh. I found my voice again quickly. But it's not my bag, I shouted. There was a big, happy smile on that policeman's face. Well, he said, it's got your name on it. Look. So I looked. And of course there was my name. And yes, of course it was my bag. So how did $200,000 get into my bag? You cannot bring US dollars into this country, the fat policeman said. He had very short grey hair and little black eyes. He didn't smile once. But I didn't bring them, I said quickly. They're not my dollars. I never saw them before in my life, and... There was a lot of noise in the station. I looked out of the window and saw my train. Slowly, it began to move. Hey! I shouted. That's my train! The tall policeman laughed. It was a great day for him. Oh, no, he said. You're not getting back on that train. You're staying here with us, in our beautiful country. He smiled happily. So, I never got to Sofia on Saturday. I was very unhappy about that. I wanted to have a little talk with Melanie and Carol. Ask them 1 or 2 questions, you know. You're a nice guy, Tom. See you in Sofia, okay? Take you to the best restaurant in town. Yeah, great. And I never got down to Cyprus or North Africa that winter. Oh well, I live and learn. It's not an easy life in prison, but it's warm in winter, and the food's not bad. And I'm meeting some interesting people. There's a man from Georgia, USSR. Boris, his name is. He comes from a place by the Black Sea. He's a great guy. When we get out of here, he and I are going down to Australia. Brisbane, perhaps, or Sydney. Get a job on a ship. Start a new life. Yeah, next year's going to be okay.